Here we go. How's it going? Welcome to another All About RVs. I'm Jared Gillis. Today we are looking at installing the SteadyFast system on our rig. We are a family of four that have been living in our rig for the last year and a half, and we're looking for something to help take out some of that shake or wobble when we're all set up. So we're hoping that this system does that, that's easy and simple to set up. So after trying a few products and doing some research, we're hoping that this is gonna fit the bill. If you think that this might work for your situation, I'm gonna put a link in the description to the product that we're using today. It's the SteadyFast system. Last night, I opened the box because I wanted to install our scissor jacks. Our previous ones were damaged, and so I wanted to replace those. And I thought, while I had the scissor jacks off, I should at least mount the foot plate that goes to each scissor jack while it was off. It was super simple. It was already off, so I just flipped it upside down, drilled the holes that I needed to because mine didn't have any holes, and then I mounted the hardware that was for the foot plate for each scissor jack. So when I installed the scissor jacks, I moved them farther from the end of the trailer, a little bit closer to the tires, and it gave us a little more ground clearance for when we go through ditches or dips or something like that. It's just gonna help them not get damaged in the future is my hope. But when I was unpackaging the SteadyFast system, I'm not usually one to say anything about packaging, but I was pretty impressed just because everything was so clearly labeled. Now, usually when you get something like this, all the hardware is just gonna be dumped into one bag, but each of these bags were labeled individually and for their intended purpose. So if they went for the foot plate, then it would be clearly labeled for that. If it was going for mounting the brackets, there was a pouch for that. So that was nice that I didn't have to sift through tons of hardware trying to figure out where each piece goes. So that should make the install a little bit easier. So starting off today, we're going to assemble the brackets first that are gonna hold the end of the braces that tighten everything down. So we're gonna drill 4 holes, I believe, for each one of those brackets. I'm gonna start with a pilot hole and then follow up with the 17/64 drill bit because once I have those holes bored out, they actually send you hardware that are gonna tap the threads as you screw it in. So I'm gonna screw it in. The tip they gave you is oil it, screw it in partially, pull it back out, allow some of those shavings to come off, and then screw it in all the way so it's not too tight going in. So that should be pretty easy. We don't have to try and get a bolt on the other side. These are tapping bolts that go in there. So let's get the bracket installed and let's get those assembled. So looking at where we want to mount our brackets, we want to make sure that we're not going to drill through anything that's like gas or water or electrical. We want to make sure that where we drill is going to be safe and cause no other damage. So we're going to put our bracket on this side because we do have our exhaust over there for our generator, and when the system is retracted, it would run into that exhaust pipe. So you want to look for obstacles like that too for when the system's going to be retracted and for when it's going to be down. So we're going to get this first bracket drilled with the drill bit that they sent with it so that we can get the self-tapping bolts through the I-beam. Oh, and our I-beam is wide enough for these brackets just to mount there, but if your I-beam's not big enough, they do have these brackets to make sure that your system is supported properly. So they do include those, but we won't need those. One down, 3 to go. No. 1 down, 2 to go. I finished assembling the rest of this with the lock nut on the bottom so that I could see a couple of the threads past it. You want to tighten it up that much so that this assembly doesn't come loose as you drive down the road. One more bracket. Now that we have our brackets installed and assembled, I'm going to prep our foot plates to get those put on. It's time to hook up the truck so that I can raise the front legs and swap out those foot plates. Now that we have the foot plates installed, I'm going to install the braces from the brackets to the swivel adapter on the other foot plate. And I'm going to tighten these down later because they need to be able to swivel, but they also need to be tight at the same time. Now these braces, when the system is fully retracted, are supposed to stick out from the bracket 7 inches. So 7 inches from the bracket to the end of the brace. So I'm going to lock that down, and then I'm going to install the set screw in the middle of the brace so that can't slide anymore. Now it's time to tighten up those bolts on the foot plate. So what we want to do is the one that's going vertical, we want to tighten that down and lock it down so that it stays in line. The one that's going horizontal, we want to firm it up, but we still need to have a little bit of swivel from that foot so that as it raises up and down, it can make that movement. Well, it's actually been a while since we installed the system. I wanted to be able to use it, try it out, see what it was like for stability at different times, see what it was like to tear down the rig, set it up when we're traveling. I wanted to see what the system was like during those times. So let's first talk about stability, because I mean that's really the main reason why you're installing something like this. So stability, I gotta be honest, I am quite impressed. It does a great job stabilizing the trailer, stabilizing our rig. I don't think there's anything out there that will ever 100% eliminate all movement. I mean, these are RVs, they do need to be able to move down the road. So as far as stability, I think it's great. I think it's doing what we hoped it would do to stabilize our rig. And as far as setting it up and tearing it down when we're setting up and tearing down our rig, it actually, I'm impressed in that area too, because it only has those 3 braces that I just need to tighten down by hand, no special tool needed or required, and it locks it down very well, very quickly. So why don't I show you how the system works and what we do when we get ready to travel and what we do when we're setting it up. So when I go to set up the system, all I need to really do is I just release these, all 3 of them, 1, 2, 3, so that I can lower my feet down and level up the trailer, get it all level, and drop the scissor jacks in the back. And then once that's all done, I'm just gonna come back around and I'm just going to tighten these up, 1, 2, 3, and then the system's stabilized. So when we go to leave, I just do it in reverse. I'm just going to loosen this, hook up the trailer, tighten these up before I travel again, and that's all there is to it. So the last thing I have to install are these warning labels to help me remember to loosen these before I raise or lower the front landing gear or the scissor jacks in the back. So I'm gonna get those installed. Well, I hope you enjoyed this review and install. This was in no way a paid review or a paid endorsement. They did send us the product, but we weren't prompted or asked to say anything. So everything that we mentioned today was completely our opinion and our take on the product. If this is your first time here, or if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, and we will hopefully see you next time.